Celebrity Entrepreneur Adventure number 401 with special guest Dana Davis making a return appearance here because I wanted to continue this on. I, like you and Anna, I'm not trying to break up anybody's marriage, you know, and look, what you've been talking about in the last video is exposing some very tender meat, right? And I think that's great, but it's only great if you're willing, you know, if you're aware of what you're doing going in and that you're aware that you could overcook the meat, you could spoil the steak. Steaks cost a lot of money.
Definitely.
I know that. I've bought a lot of steaks for a lot of people. They cost a lot of money. So, you know, is that really, there's the black house. Is that really something that you're wanting to, or needing to do?
Yes, because I know that there are several people, I am not alone, people who need to figure out how to properly cook the meat.
Okay.
And the one thing that I can say right now, although the conversations have been, you doing this again?
Yeah.
You know, it has helped us figure out where, it's almost like we're starting over, if that makes sense. Because she has made mention to me that she just feels like I haven't been attentive enough. And, you know, I'm home all the time, I'm doing this, I've sacrificed that, you know, the only time I'm away is when I'm doing the work that I need to do. But I also realized that it requires a balance. It really, truly does require a balance. And now I'm a little bit more mindful about the experiences. So more invitations, more, not what do you think? Because I don't think that I should ask necessarily permission to do the things I know is good for myself.
Right.
My business.
Right.
But how do you see yourself in all of this is the question that I've been asking.
Yeah. You've been asking yourself.
Yes.
How do you see yourself in all of this?
And how do I see myself in all of this? And then that really kind of gears my conversations with her around what needs to be done in order for me to be able to achieve what I need to do.
Yeah, because we ain't getting any younger.
No. And I said to her, listen, I don't have a lot of time. What I'm trying to do, eventually, I'm just not going to be their person. No matter how much talent, I'm just not going to be their person. And I don't want to waste the opportunity waiting for the wait that doesn't really exist. Does that make sense?
Well,
the time is now.
I've seen the thing that says, a paycheck is you selling your dream to somebody else.
That's it.
To fulfill their dream.
Yes.
And it's kind of true.
Hey, I literally take my brain out some days, open up the drawer, put it in the drawer.
Yeah. And
get through the day.
Okay, well, look, with all of that said, I just want to go on record as saying I believe in straddling. I advise clients, hey, you got a good paying source of income, whether that be from selling a product you don't like, which in this case, you're selling a product you don't like. It's your time.
Right.
But it pays good. And it also has created status for you and opportunities and, helped to mold you into who you are.
Correct.
So I always recommend that before you give up any significant source of revenues, that you have other revenues that make it ridiculous for you to continue selling yourself so cheap with what you're doing. Okay? That's really important. I had a doctor who would make $30,000 a day as the one who looks at the x-rays, a radiologist, and he was doing free discovery calls to try to get coaching clients. I'm like, are you fucking crazy?
Yeah, that's the epitome of wasting your time.
Well, I mean, there's this whole mystique about being an entrepreneur and about being a coach and about being a seminar leader and Oprah or Tony Robbins. I get it. But I pride myself on being realistic about all of this shit and keeping in mind, you got to be making lots of money to be able to sustain what you're doing. If you ain't making lots of money, you ain't going to keep going, because you need lots of money in order to have the impact and the influence that you want. Because, I mean, look what we did with our first house in Mexico.
Right.
We made lots of money, and then we had a vision of having a place where people would come for our extended seminars and retreats or host their own retreats. So we took our money and we were able to buy a bigger vision. See what I mean? So you got to be able to be working towards that, because you're either growing or you're dying. And you need to be growing, right? You're both.
Sometimes I just feel like I feel exactly that. Like I must be dying because doesn't feel like growth. It doesn't feel like where I need to be, and I can see it, feel it, taste it, and I'm so happy to have this. I'm so happy that I'm taking this walk right now. I am so happy that I showed up.
Yeah.
I am here. Because I'm always like, what is it? What is it? And it's just really having an understanding. This is why we pay you the big bucks. This is why we pay you the big bucks. And this is exactly the impact that I want to have on my clients.
Yeah.
I want to be able to do this and also make the big bucks, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're helping me with the vision of the focus, because a lot of times I want to just jump ship and say, I just use all my time to do this. But it's really a matter of me being able to put myself first and finding the time and the energy.
Making the time. Look, I'll never forget, way back in the way beginning, when I was first trying to read Awaken the Giant Within, Tony Robbins' first book. And I mean, this is when I was a taxi driver. And I never made it through the whole book because the print was too small and it was a big fat book. But I do remember the introduction where he wrote about how he was writing this book on a train at 3 o'clock in the morning in between cities, something like that. He was making the time, because I'm telling you, there's nobody who's going to tell you, write that book. Right. Except for me, and I'm not going to tell it to you very many times, right? There's nobody who's going to tell you, create that new program. Except for me, and I'm not going to tell it to you very many times. Right. There's nobody who's going to tell you, make the cold calls and get on the TV shows, or look for stages to go speak and get new clients, right? There's nobody who's going to tell you all that. All this stuff comes from a burning drive inside, which also could be called the word initiative. You got to have the initiative. And look, Dana, I respect you a lot. That's why we're doing these videos. You're the first person to ever co-star in one of these videos. And I think that you're very close to being able to bridge the gap, taking the leap. But the leap comes not from quitting your job. Right. The leap comes from working harder and longer and in the middle of the night. Gracias. And early in the morning and on weekends. And I want to say this, because this is right to what your wife has been saying. Early on, after I had spent like $40,000 on seminars and coaching and masterminds and had nothing to show for it, except lots of trips and lots of hotels and lots of flights, Allie said to me, when are you going to start making some money from this thing? Is this just a pyramid scheme? That's what she said. And that was the year that I made $9,000. That was the year that I sold my soul to the devil. This seminar leader, he's like, hey, if you want to speak on my stage, then I want your local TV training, videos and audios, to be able to give them to my clients for free as content. And I'm like, but that's what I'm selling.
Right.
he's like, well, if you want to speak on my stage, you're going to give me that content in perpetuity to give away for free. And what you'll sell after you speak is they'll buy a consultation from you and they'll buy your database. Okay, so you'll charge them $1,000 for a consultation and a database. And I did that, and that's how I got my first 9 clients. And I sold my soul to the devil. I worked all like 6 months creating that training program, which I still have been using to this day. 13 years later, I'm still making millions of dollars from new TV power to my own clients. But that first speaking event launched me. That gave me 9 clients who I worked really hard with and got them to get results. 3 days later, I got the email from Veronica Gray that said, hey, here's my segment. Based on your segment, my segment was, can you actually lose weight by adding butter to your popcorn? And her segment was, can you actually lose weight by eating Halloween candy? That was 3 days later. And then she went on a national tour across the country and booked herself on 10 shows. Now I had a success story from selling my soul to the devil. So I'm not telling you to quit your job. I'm telling you don't quit your job. Keep your money coming in, but you can be looking for, like, you need to be finding out, how are you going to create that break? So what do you think about that?
I love that.
Okay.
I love that. You know, there's several opportunities. There's no reason why I don't have a platform already. There's no reason why I can't do subscriptions. There's no reason why I'm not having retreats.
Yeah. Well, you gotta, look, the way to get retreats is you gotta have clients. You need clients before you can start doing retreats. That's really important. You gotta have, you know, in terms of my vision of retreats,
right.
And I think you are talking about the same, because you've taken that class 2 times.
Right.
But you need to have a seminar.
Okay.
You need to have a seminar, which is slightly different than a retreat. A seminar is like probably 3 days in Las Vegas or Arizona, or Florida is very popular, or even New York. And you know, you need to figure out, what are you going to deliver to these people in those 3 days?
Got it.
And you know, my first seminar, Celebrity Launchpad, which I've been selling now for $10,000 for many, many years, started out as a single pay of $3,600 or 5 installments of $999. This is what I've told you.
Right.
So that's probably what you're going to do too, something along those lines, where it seems too cheap, where it seems so cheap that
doesn't make sense for them not to do it.
Doesn't make sense for them not to do it, especially with your guarantee. And you need to figure out, what can you guarantee? You got to figure that out. Okay? All right, now, yeah. See, I say that because I'm like, Allie is prone to tripping. That's why I say that to you, all right? Okay, but, yeah. So, but in terms of your speech today for the Houston Intercontinental Chamber of Commerce, are you good with what you just did?
I am. I'm going to definitely polish it up.
Yep.
I think that tying it into leadership is going to be key for me as well.
Yep.
What will be the point of telling you the story is how leadership shows up in all different ways, and having those skill sets to help you get through a situation.
Hey, and the first person you got to lead is yourself, and the second person you got to lead is your wife.
That's right.
Is, you know, your family.
It's my family.
That's all part of leadership. So that's how it works into leadership. So I think it's a good leadership speech. And I love leadership. Leadership is the most important speaker topic, the most requested. And, you know, like I've said to you many times, you are exactly what everybody is looking for, right? You're exactly the kind of speaker they're dreaming they could have. So you should be able to be successful with this.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're getting back to the freeway now. There's the hotel. Have you been to this event before?
Not in Houston.
Not in Houston?
First one.
This is your first one? Oh, this is an amazing event. We got so much crammed into this one. You're lucky you're at this one, because the ones in the future are going to be scaled, are not going to have NASA. You're going to speak at NASA. Yeah. And we're not going to have NASA anymore. But like you'll see, I've invented this whole new vision. Like, this is really, come on. This is going to be like an intro program that I'm going to do here. And the people are going to get to speak at the Houston Chamber of Commerce. They're going to get to be on my TV show, Celebrity Experts. They're going to meet the astronaut. They're going to meet the beauty queen. They're going to meet Joel Osteen. They're going to get videos with the astronaut. They're going to get videos with the beauty queen. And they're going to get photos with Joel Osteen. But really, talk about your experiences. Like, you've met a lot of celebrities with me.
Tons of celebrities.
How has that like impacted you?
Oh, greatly. First, being comfortable and understanding that, you know, being in the same room with certain people, you know, that was a little fear factor at the beginning. But I mean, listen, it's nothing for me to stand next to Dr. Oz or be able to be in any room with anyone to have any conversation. That has built me in such a way that I had no expectation of that. I didn't know how I could do it or what would I say. Now, listen, put me in front of anybody. Come on over, let's have a conversation. Come on, anyone, any president, anyone, I'm ready. Second, when the way people look at me has changed. I've been VP for a minute, and no one really paid that much attention.
Oh, I like this. They're paying attention now?
Oh, they're paying attention now. I was at an event a few weeks ago, and someone randomly came up to me and hugged me and said, "Hey, I've been following you. Oh my gosh, you're doing huge things. You're doing big things." And it has nothing to do with what I'm doing as my actual career as a VP. No one cares about that.
But people in the corporation are noticing you.
Yeah, people in the corporation are noticing me. Yes. They're paying attention. And because they're paying attention, if I'm able to be in a room with these key people, with these celebrities, then I have to be somebody. I have to matter.
Exactly. This is so great. Those are two amazing points. Becoming more as a result of who you hang out with. You know, they say, I think it was Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins' mentor, who said, you become the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most. And I say it kind of differently, because we're using these people in a different way. I say you become the average of the 5 people you display yourself in your marketing with the most. And the reason is because you're not just marketing this to your customers and prospects, you're marketing it to yourself. You're changing your own self-image by displaying yourself with all these people. You don't think I feel differently after having seen myself on the cover of my magazine with the Rolling Stones 1,000,000 times, in pictures with Dr. Oz and Oprah 1,000,000 times? You don't think I feel differently about myself? I do. And that's the personal transformation that I talk about. Now, she just talked about the professional transformation, and I don't understand why more corporate employees don't fucking get this. You think that your higher ups in the corporation don't care about celebrities.
They do.
They do. As Arnold Copelson would say, you would happen to be wrong. And you don't even know who Arnold Copelson was. But this is what we were talking about in the last video. If you haven't watched that one, you should go back and look at episode number 400. And that is, you don't have to be Oprah Winfrey to make a huge difference in your bank account. Arnold Copelson is a person you've never heard of, and yet he sold $3 billion worth of movie tickets to the movies he produced, including Platoon, which he won the Academy Award for Best Picture, The Fugitive with Harrison Ford and Tommy Lee Jones, The Devil's Advocate with Keanu Reeves and Al Pacino, Murder at 1600 with Wesley Snipes, Seven with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman. He did 29 feature films The biggest of which was a $100 million movie for Warner Brothers with Arnold Schwarzenegger called Eraser. The guy was the king of Hollywood for like 20 years and you don't even know who he is, and you don't think celebrities can make a difference because you don't know anything. Celebrities make a difference in corporate America.
Corporate America as well. And even for me personally, I'm able to do a lot more now because of the type of things that I'm doing and what I am presenting. I'm able to do a lot more. The average person would not be able to have this much time off, be able to travel without a single question
From your boss.
because they know that the work that I'm doing must be important because of the people that I'm with.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there you go. I hope you enjoyed Celebrity Entrepreneur's Adventure number 401. I really am grateful to my special guest, Dana Davis, my girl.
Your girl.
And I'm looking forward to seeing you on TV. I'm looking forward to you remembering the key thing that my mentor, Oprah Winfrey, said to me. You are responsible for your own success, and I would love to help you with that.